So I was on a panel for Partnership LA, which is a group here in California. I bring them up because we asked the question about the relationship between education and racial justice. And I referenced an organization called Teachers for Social Justice, which is a national organization working for social justice. There's a group called or Education for Liberation. So there are people who are doing this work to make schools more accountable to students of color. And then there's curriculum on Black Lives Matter in schools. I know that Teaching for Tolerance, I know they have curriculum as well. I also know that there's a huge movement for police-free schools. That I think has to be emphasized in terms of changing the tide of discipline and punishment in the schools. Police-free schools. That is in tandem with the defund police movement, the abolish police movement that's taking place right now. And that's being led by organizations like Movement for Black Lives, organizations like Black Visions Collective, who led what's going on in Minnesota. These Black led organizations have drawn upon decades of organizing in order to hold schools accountable by asking them or demanding for them to remove police from schools, to redistribute those funds towards restorative justice, transformative justice in the schools. There's a huge movement around that. Now, what I am going to say is that I would love for us to use this moment to make schools, if we do it correctly, we are schools and an educational system that centers racial justice and demands an end to anti-Blackness. If we do it correctly, it's not infusing anti-racist curriculum into the schools. We make the schools racial justice centered. The entire educational system, right, would be working to upend anti-Blackness, to upend colonial projects. What would it look like if all of our curriculum and practices were working to end anti-Blackness, we're working to end colonization, not just to infuse it, but those become our practices? What if it was, our curriculum and our practices were to end white supremacy, not to infuse anti-white supremacist pedagogy, but that those were our standards? How would the lessons and the curriculum be working to end these things? Abolitionists, including myself, who've been, we've been police prison abolitionists for decades. What we're asking for is not only the end of these things, but to create an entirely different world where we get to rely on each other, we get to take care of each other, we get to center our young people's livelihoods and not just try to get them through the next day, which I know as a former school teacher, most of our days kind of feel like that.